Saving America one entrepreneur at a time. It's the Biz Wrap Podcast with your host, Michael Manahan.
It's Biz Wrap Radio, the show that celebrates entrepreneurs and small business with your host, small businessman, educator, and author, Michael Manahan.
And welcome to another edition of Biz Wrap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. Thank you so much for joining me today. As usual, we have a wonderful show lined up for you, but if you're new to Biz Wrap Radio, we are the show all about entrepreneurs and small business people. Yes, we're here helping you, the entrepreneurs of America, do what you need to do, which is to run small businesses, make profits, create jobs. You know, there's a fallacy that circulates in this country that somehow small businesses are not very important and that the jobs are all created by these big corporations. And, you know, whenever we run into a recession, what's the government doing? The government's busy bailing out the fat cats on Wall Street and the big corporations, not too worried about the small businesses. But the reality is most people in America actually work for a small business. Most new jobs as we, move out of the recession are created by small business. And so small business is really important to the American economy. And here at Biz Wrap Radio, we're huge supporters of small business and entrepreneurs. You know, each week we feature a guest who has some different insight and thoughts and ideas about entrepreneurship and small business people. We've had people on the show who can help small business owners in their marketing strategies, in everything from trademarks and patents and human resources and just how to be a better business person. We've had sources of capital on the show, people who can provide money to small businesses, help you get the capital you need to grow your business and stay in business. And, of course, we've had entrepreneurs on the show, some successful and some not successful. And, you're not going to hear, Mark Zuckerberg on Biz Wrap Radio. That's not our focus. We don't want to have on billionaires. We want to have on the average, the everyday average entrepreneur, the guy that starts a business, struggles, and makes a good living off of it. Maybe makes a little bit of money to leave to his children. But, the focus is not billionaires and people who create that kind of a corporation. It's really the everyday entrepreneurs who are out there in our community, left, right, and center. They're all around us. They're people who are working hard, making sacrifices for themselves, for their employees, for their family, for their customers, and really just trying to earn a living and get ahead of the game. And so that is what Biz Wrap Radio is all about. So with that, let's get on with the show. I am so lucky today to have on the line with me an entrepreneur herself, somebody who started her own business under somewhat unusual circumstances. On the line is Georgana Ireland. Georgana, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so Georgana, you are an artist, and you own the Ethos Contemporary Art Gallery, which is down in Newport Beach. How did you get started in that business?
Well, I've been a professional artist for more than 20 years, and I was in a top gallery in in Laguna Beach, and it was an incredible experience. I had great sales and great visibility. I was right on the corner, right next to Main Beach and PCH. It doesn't get better than that, and when they closed, I decided I didn't want to go backwards. I wanted to go forward, and I was ready to, throw my hat in the ring and open up my own art gallery.
Well, that's cool. Now, was that a hard decision to make, or was it like spur of the moment? You know what? I'm just going to go out and do this.
I think that maybe I'd been thinking about it for a couple years before I did it.
Okay.
Because I would always, I'm currently in 7 different galleries, and I work with all of them, and I always think, well, I would like to try this or I'd like to try that. And so now I have, that opportunity to do the things that I would perhaps talk to other galleries that I was in, encourage them to do. And now I have that opportunity to give it a try and see if it works.
That is really cool. And I got to ask something. You mentioned you're an artist, but that covers a very broad spectrum of creativity. So what kind of art do you create? What is your specialty?
I actually paint very large oil paintings, romantic abstract, very much along the line of the abstract expressionist artists about the time I was born. But it's got my own interpretation and from a feminine perspective. So it's something new, but it's a twist of what was from the past as well. So, and I've actually been in galleries since I was 19 years old. So I've been at it for a very long time.
Well, that's cool. What prompted your interest in art to begin with?
I've just been an artist all my life, even as a small child. So by the time I was 16, I was painting about 3 hours a day.
Wow, so you really have a passion for this.
Mm-hmm. I do. And I don't plan to ever retire. I really love what I do. And I'm excited now because, adding the element, because I am an entrepreneur and I like business. I love business. And so it's exciting to not only be the person, I produce art and I'm passionate about it and I want to go to full height as an artist, but because I'm an entrepreneur, because I love business, because I really do love to encourage other people, it is very exciting to work with other artists and work with their careers and sell their art. I love it just as much as selling my own art.
So this kind of leads into the next thing. First of all, I heard one thing from what you had to say, and that was passion. You're obviously very passionate about this. But the second thing that I'm kind of hearing from what you're saying is if you're the artistic type, which many people are, let's face it, musicians and painters and sculptors and what have you, if you're the artistic type, that doesn't mean you cannot also be a business person. You can marry your passion for art, whatever your artistic endeavor might be, with a robust business. And I think that's an important message for people out there, because I think there's this kind of thinking that, hey, either you're a business type, you're a serious businessman, or you're an artist and you're all airy-fairy and, it's all about the art. You don't understand finance and numbers and all the rest of the stuff. But you're telling me you can do both.
You can do both. And one secret, too, is realizing that no one person is good at everything. And so you have to be prepared to study the areas that you might be weak in, and or you have to hire someone to fill in the blanks in an area that you are weak. You have to analyze, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not good at, and you have to be successful. You have to either learn to get better at the things you're weak at or hire someone.
Yeah, and I that is kind of a universalism, if that is even a word. But I run into this with entrepreneurs all the time. Where they have a weakness in some particular area, but there's just this reticence to go out there and find somebody who's an expert at what they're not an expert at, and bring that person on board and pay that person. And to make matters worse, are the entrepreneurs that I've done business with over the years who have a weakness. They hire an expert. The expert tells them what they should be doing, and then they don't bother doing it. So you have all of these kind of complexities in the entrepreneurial mindset. We got just over a minute left here before we have to go to commercial break, and I've got so much I want to talk to you about because I just find the whole concept of running an art gallery. It is a different business, and I'm not going to use the word unique because I think that word is kind of overused in our business environment, but it certainly is different than, say, running a hamburger joint or running a woman's clothing store or something along those lines. So there's a lot more I want to talk to you about. But before we go to commercial break, I want to have the opportunity to give out your information. So if somebody's interested in finding out more about your art gallery, where should they go? Do you have a website?
We do. We have a website, Ethos Contemporary Art, and www.ethoscontemporaryart.com, and we are located at 3405 Newport Boulevard. We're right on Newport Boulevard, first block of the Balboa Peninsula. So right near Lido Village and all the new exciting things going on in that area.
Okay, that's cool. So if you're in the area, definitely get down to visit the gallery, and if you're not in the area, go online and check it out. It is Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio. I'm on the line with Georgana Ireland, Contemporary Art Gallery owner, and we'll be back right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. If you just joined us, we are talking today with Georgana Ireland. She is the owner of Ethos Contemporary Art Gallery down in Newport Beach. She is an artist, and she was selling her art through a local art store in Laguna Beach. That store closed down, and she said, well, to heck with this. I'm going to just go and open my own art store. So Georgana, right? It's Georgana.
Yes.
Okay, Georgana. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you decided that my outlet for my art is no longer there. I'm going to start my own store, or your own art gallery. Had you ever had experience previously with running a retail? Basically, it's a retail store. Had you ever had experience previously with running a store?
No, I've worked closely with art galleries that I have been in, and so that would be my only experience. Actually, is just working closely with the galleries, almost in essence partnering with them, even though I was really just an artist in the space, but always working with them, brainstorming to come up with different ideas for advertising and promotion and that sort of thing. So that would be my only experience, actually.
You really just went into this with basically cold feet, if you will. That is cold turkey, as they say. That is.
It is. And luckily, I was very fortunate that one of the galleries that I was in prior is now a good friend, a very successful woman owned, business owner, entrepreneur, and she has been very gracious to whenever I have a question, I even showed her the space before I started and got her input, and so I was very grateful that I had someone more experienced than me saying, you can do it, go for it, and then if I have a question, I can give them a call, too.
Oh, that's great. So I want to understand a little bit about some of the, what I would call business metrics involved in an art gallery, because it is significantly different. If I'm running a hamburger chain or a hamburger store, restaurant, I need to buy some supplies. I got buns, and I got burgers, and I got lettuce and tomato and some ketchup and pickles, perhaps, and I put that stuff together, and I kind of look at my costs, and then I turn around and I sell the burgers. And as my business increases, I probably have a pretty good idea of how much, how much food I need to buy every week to satisfy the demands of the customers coming into my store. But in the world of art, how do you predict things like revenues, and how do you know how much inventory to carry in your store? How do you make those decisions?
That's a good question. Truly, I would have to say opening an art gallery is a type of business where you are completely in the unknown, and you cannot predict anything. You really can't. And so it's more of a by faith type of business, and I'm very goal-oriented, and it's always worked for me. And so all I can do is, put my very best foot forward, have the very best art that I can possibly find. I work with living masters, so I'm working with the best of the best, but their prices are still reasonable. They're living working artists. And so, that's all I can really do, and I have to say it's working.
Okay,
it's working.
Well, that's great. Well, I guess in all of this, there's probably a little bit of faith, and
it is. It definitely is. It's scary, and being an entrepreneur and going into the unknown and not having any. This is going to work. This is going to be successful. You're going to make this much money every single month. That's not how it works. And I would compare an art gallery to being more in the real estate business. And, realtors don't necessarily sell a home every single month. But then when they sell, it's a bigger chunk. And then you have to be wise, and you don't just spend it all. When you're running a business, you have to reserve that as operating capital. And so it's being very conservative. But like I said, it's working. But you really have to think of it more. It's more like being in the real estate business.
Gotcha. And by the way, if I ask a question that you don't want to answer because it's confidential, just let me know. But I like to get into the nuts and bolts of different businesses. So
sure.
Okay, so you're representing. You call them living masters. What happens? Do they contract with you to produce so many pieces of art, or do you go out to their location and say, okay, I see you've got 6 or 7 things here. I'll take those 2, but those ones I don't want. How do you make that buying decision?
Well, with working with these artists, first of all, most of them I've known for many, many years, so we have a trust. We've already have that relationship because I work with some very expensive works of art. We have reasonably priced things that start at $300 to things that are, we've had things $65,000. So it's quite a range, and there has to be a trust there. And so pretty much they're at a level that I like almost everything they produce. And I am very fortunate. I feel like I've got very well-trained eyes. Being exposed to all the work that I've seen in museums and that, I have a very good eye. And so I do have that luxury that I do go to their studios and I pick the art I want for the gallery.
Well, that's great.
Now, I do actually pick out everything that's in the gallery.
Now, do you have to pay them for that, or do you take it normally on like some kind of a consignment basis?
Yeah, it's pretty much everything is consigned in a gallery. Everything is consigned, and it's all properly insured, and that's just how the gallery business at this. In the past it may have been different, but typically in this day and age, everything is consigned in a gallery.
And then who sets the prices? Is it the artist who set the prices, or do you tell the artist, "Hey, I think we can sell that for $5,000"?
I would say we work together on a price. It's all about consistency and where the artist is in the marketplace. It has to be consistent with what they are currently selling the work for. So I would say mostly we do that together. I don't think it's independently made. Sometimes some like say the sculptures we carry, they have a price list and a retail price list, and every single gallery it's the same price.
Gotcha. So there's I guess there is then somewhat of an established market for art. So there is reference points you can go to.
There is, yeah. There definitely is. And then some artists, like I'll know, and I'll even hint a little bit because sometimes an artist will come into the market and they're a little bit underpriced, and that's always a great opportunity for the buyer. Because, there's just this tiny little window where you can get it for a little bit better price, and then they become so popular that they can't keep up with the demand, and the price raises, and then that opportunity to get it at that particular price is over.
Wow, that's amazing. So, and I get now. Have you ever had a situation, for instance, where one of the artists you're dealing with, and I don't want to be morbid here, but one of the artists you're dealing with dies? Does that instantaneously mean everything the artist has produced all of a sudden shoots up in value?
That has not happened to me personally, but that has happened in a gallery that I was in, and yes, the prices do all go up immediately.
Okay, so to make a little extra money, you wouldn't think about slipping a little cyanide into the cocktail of one of your artists?
No. No, the oldest artist we're working with is 87, and I want him to live forever.
Oh, that's cool. That's really neat. And I guess it's a fairly close-knit community that you have with the other artists.
Yes. Everyone I work with, I know personally. They're actually a friend as well. But they are, like I said, they're living masters. They're phenomenal. They're at the top of their game.
That is a really nice way to have it. This, of course, is Biz Rap Radio. I'm your host, Michael Manahan. We are talking to Georgana Ireland. She is the owner of Ethos Contemporary Art. You can go to ethoscontemporaryart.com. She has a gallery down in Newport Beach, and I'm sure she'd love you to visit the gallery. She is an artist herself, and after the gallery that featured her work closed down, she decided to become an entrepreneur and open up her own art gallery, and she's done very well at it. And we will be back with more from Georgana Ireland right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. Thanks again for being with us today, and thanks for sticking with the show if you've been listening to the show so far this hour. If you've just joined us, this is Biz Rap Radio. We are the show all about small business and entrepreneurs, and I have on the line with me today an entrepreneur, Georgana Ireland. She is the owner of Ethos Contemporary Art, which is an art gallery down in Newport Beach, California. You can check it out at ethoscontemporaryart.com. If you're in the area, by all means, stop by her art gallery. And Georgina has an interesting story because she was an artist, or is an artist. She was selling her art through a gallery down in Laguna Beach, and that gallery closed down. And rather than look for a new gallery in which to sell her art, she decided, heck, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and open up my own art gallery. So, Georgana, once again, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So, okay, we talked about your decision to become an entrepreneur. You got some space. We talked about some of the complexities that you face as an art gallery owner that perhaps other businesses don't face, such as how you get your inventory, how you price your inventory, how you kind of forecast demand, which I think we determined was pretty difficult. And you mentioned you're kind of like the real estate, being a real estate agent. You know, if you sell a house and you make a big commission, you got to put some of that money away because you might not sell a house for, who knows, another few weeks or even a month or two. So you have to take a conservative approach to managing your cash in your business. So, but let's turn to the marketing side. How do you market an art gallery? How do you market your art gallery? And do you have any suggestions or ideas for other entrepreneurs out there who might be thinking, how do I drive in more customers into my business?
Well, we like to do special events. We do pop-up shows. We try to, think outside the box. And so we've partnered with people in real estate and did a special one-night event at a home. It's a multi-million-dollar home that's for sale, and we have a great party and great art and refreshments, and it's just kind of a fun experience for everyone. It's a little bit different. So that's something that we've done, and then also for us, it's all about service as well. So we I have the golden rule, of course, of just taking care of the customer, and we're always thinking, what can we do to take care of the customer? And so we try to provide a lot of complimentary services. So whether it's, enjoying the art in a home for a week, we hang the art, we do that. But I would say, as far as marketing the business, it's really about networking and people that you know, and having a really stellar reputation. I think that when you want to have a trust relationship with people, and they, many of the people that are now buying art from me, they've known me for many years, and so they know my character, they know they can trust me, and so when they are ready to transition and buy other art besides my art, they already have a relationship with me. And so I would say a lot of our business right now is word of mouth, actually.
Well, that's great. So you got to be a little creative, I would think, in marketing something like an art gallery. Let me talk about your customers for a minute. Are your customers buying the art because this for them is, I want to decorate my house, I want to enjoy the art because I'm an art connoisseur? Or do you find that they're buying because they're thinking, hey, this is an investment strategy. I'll buy a piece of art for $5,000 today, and 10 years from now it's going to be worth $20,000?
I would say right now it's more for the emotional experience, the connection with the art. I would say most people buy art because, they have an emotional attachment to it. They love it. That's why I've bought art. I'm also an art collector, not just an artist. And so, and also, there's the factor of maybe they have a problem wall in their home, and they need us. We come in, of course, complimentary. We help them problem solve, and we can work with different budgets in that. So, that's what we do.
Gotcha. So, what about value? What if I'm a fledgling artist? I've never sold anything. I don't know. Maybe I sold some things at a local swap meet or something. But I think I've got some creative talent. I've created a few pieces of art. If I came to you, would you look at those, or are you looking for new artists, or you basically know the ones I work with is the ones I work with? How do you manage that side of the business?
Sure. We have artists come in the gallery all the time. That's just part of, having an art gallery. And we probably are not going to be representing an artist that's a newer artist, an emerging artist. But we're always happy to encourage, to point someone in the right direction, because there's room for everyone in the art market. And, that's one thing people do need to understand if they are an artist, is, you start somewhere, and there's baby steps that are involved. And so I'm always happy to point them in the right direction and say, this is a good next step for you. Because I've had so many mentors in my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without my mentors, I'm always happy to encourage artists, whatever level they're at, as an artist. As far as it being in our gallery, we're not a very big gallery, and so it would be very difficult to have to be in our gallery, because most of the artists I work with have been producing for more than 30 years. A lot of them in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because I specialize in living now. So it's not an emerging artist gallery. But I'm always, at any level, I'm always happy to, meet with artists and encourage them.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you qualify to be a living master? Who gives you that designation, and where does that come from?
I would say, more than anything, I really do feel like I have a well-trained eye. Having traveled the world, I've spent hours and hours and hours, more than I could count, in museums studying the very best art in the world. And so I have a very well-trained eye. And so I felt confident that I could look at a piece of art, not knowing the artist's name, age, anything about the artist, and tell you, where that artist is at. As long as it's, of the genres that I'm familiar with, I can tell the composition's incredible. The color, the balance, I can tell where it's at as an artist. And so that's the art that I want to work with. I literally want to work with people that I feel like are actually at the genius level, and that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I want my gallery to be filled with, are artists that I feel like are producing at a genius level. And so when I'm talking to someone and I'm pointing to the art, I'm explaining to them why this artist, I feel, is a genius at what they're doing. It's unique, it's different, and it's literally just off the charts, and I'm excited about it, and I'm happy to share that with other people.
So for you, this is a very personal experience. It's not like, hey, this thing looks like crap, but I think we could sell it for $10,000, so let's stick it on the wall. If you're not yourself enthused about the piece of art, you probably wouldn't feature it in your gallery?
Yeah, that is true. That's very true. Yeah, I really have to think the artist is a genius.
Gotcha. Well, that's so there's an ethical I would call it an ethical factor in this business as well, because I think a lot of people who are not involved in the art world and sometimes think that maybe people who are in the art business aren't the most ethical people in the world, and perhaps try and pull one over on the rest of us who really don't know anything about art, trying to sucker us into buying something that's way overvalued or is a piece of crap, the proverbial sheet of paper that was sitting on the counter, and I put my cup on it. It's got a few coffee stains, so I'll throw that into a frame and stick it on the wall and see if I can sell it for $5,000 to somebody. But it sounds to me like you're a very ethical person.
Yes, I do know what you're talking about, and I find that hard to understand as well, things like that you see in the art world, but that's not the type of business we have at all. Well, it's art that I'm passionate about. Like I said, master artists that have been producing, more than 30 years. They're at the top of their game. They're still alive. They're still painting every day. They're still passionate about what they're doing. And, they might be 60, 70, 80 years old. And I feel a real responsibility because some of these artists, they really like me. They like my work ethic. And they're saying things like, you're the only person I want to work with in the country. And so I have a great responsibility on my shoulders to do the very best I can to market these amazing artists that are still alive and producing.
Well, that is incredible, and good for you. I really like that so much. It is Biz Rap Radio. I'm your host, Michael Manahan. I'm speaking with Georgana Ireland. She is the owner of Ethos Contemporary Art in Newport Beach. You can go to ethoscontemporaryart.com to check that out. And we're going to be back with more right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. We are, of course, the show all about small business and entrepreneurs. But let's continue on with the show. Today I've got Georgana Ireland on with me. She is an entrepreneur and an artist, and she was selling her art through an art gallery that ended up closing down. And she said, well, instead of finding another art gallery, I'm going to open my own art gallery. And she did. Her art gallery is Ethos Contemporary Art in Newport Beach, California. You can go to her website ethoscontemporaryart.com, and check it out. And Georgana, once again, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about how you got started in the business, some of the challenges, trials, and tribulations, how you've sourced your artwork, and how you have relationships with the artist who you represent. We talked about marketing, some of the marketing ideas and strategies you had for the business. And then we finished off at the end of the last segment talking about something which is very dear to me as a business person, and that is ethics. And we mentioned kind of the opportunity, because let's face it, a lot of people don't really know art, the opportunity for people to get ripped off by unethical art dealers. But I think this brings up a broader subject, and I'm so just absolutely refreshed and excited to find out that you have such a high ethical standard for the way you operate. But it's so tough. I teach university. That's one of the things I do. I teach finance and accounting. So a lot of the people I'm teaching are going to be in business, and I try to teach them that business people really do need to be ethical. And I think for the most part, most business people are. But darn, it's so challenging to. I have students say to me, they say, Mike, you want us to be an ethical business person? Look at the people on Wall Street. Look at the people running for office like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, and you want us to be ethical? So, do you ever find yourself in the temptation to sway from being an ethical business operator, or is that pretty much true to who you are?
I think my goal as a person is, I want to be someone that people say good things behind my back at all times. And I always will strive to make decisions that's what's going to happen.
Okay, well, that's really great, and I appreciate the fact, Georgana, that you have this strong moral and ethical fiber. I think that's so good as a business person. So let's talk about the next step. You created the business. It's running successfully. How long have you been open now?
Just a little over a year now.
Okay, a little over a year. Obviously, you're selling enough to stay in business, so that's good. And is the business improving? Is it going in the right direction, the way you want it to go?
It is. The thing I'm excited about as well is I've chosen an industry where there just really is no limits. There's always new levels to attain, which I love that. I love that challenge. So as we grow, I'm working with sculptors that do monumental public works. And so that's next on my list is public art, installations. There's now that the recession is over, there's going to be a lot of homes and hotels that are going to be remodeling. They're going to need new art. So I just see so much opportunity. I'm really excited that I've chosen this field. I absolutely love it, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Oh, that's fantastic. Any plans for location number 2?
Not yet. We have a kind of a funny location. We are going to be across from a new hotel that's going up, so I'm looking forward to that. The new Lido House Hotel is just pretty much across the street from us. And we're next to a gas station, which, it's kind of silly, and you wouldn't think it would be a positive, but literally we have people that fill up their tank and they hop out real quick and they run into the gallery. So it turned out to not be a bad thing at all. With the limited parking where we live, we get a lot of gas station shoppers, hopping out of their Rolls Royce. It is Newport Beach, so
of course, yes.
So but who knows what the future holds? I think I'd like to partner with some hotels next.
Yeah, that's great. I love success stories. It sounds like you've been successful. You are successful. I love people who follow their passions as well. And my advice to entrepreneurs who might be listening is whatever your passion is, you can make it into a business. If your passion is art, art is a business. If your passion is sports, sports can be a business. And there's a lot of ancillary businesses that kind of revolve around any given passion. And I know I had somebody I was giving some advice to on a business, and they were very passionate about sports, but they had their mind set on like one aspect of sports. And I said to them, look, if your passion is sports and you want to be involved in sports, there's so many different businesses revolving around sports. You could open a sports bar. You could have a sports memorabilia store. You could work in sports marketing. You could work for a sports entertainment company or create one of your own. You could be an agent for people who play sports. You could be a sports photographer. I mean, there's so many different things you could do that would leverage your passion. So you need to be a little bit creative and think about that. Georgina, we are closing in on the end of the show. I really do appreciate you being on. Again, it is Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio, and I'm going to give out your information just once again. It's Georgana Ireland. You're the owner of Ethos Contemporary Art Gallery. You can check out the website, ethoscontemporaryart.com. Your location is down in Newport Beach, California. I see there's a phone number here, 949-791-8917. And once again, Georgana, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, that's great. You know, here at Biz Rap Radio, we believe we can fix the United States of America through a fundamental concept that individuals pursuing their own economic interests in free markets will create more prosperity for more people than can ever be achieved through government regulation and a planned economy. Biz Rap Radio, fixing America through individual economic freedom. That's it for this week. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Biz Rap Radio.